Good evening, and welcome to the Mommy Activist and Sons radio show. This is a double dynamic this Sunday. You have the Sunday evening weigh-in and 25 days till Christmas, Wishes of Justice. This is number 17 of 25. And every Sunday we have the Sunday evening weigh-in at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to make a difference in a responsible way, hosted by me, Karen Garrison, and joined in production are Lawrence and Lamont Garrison and our residents our guest resident, Roosevelt Sanders, better known to us as the Original Man and O. As usual, we review legal information and things like that. And I won't go through the whole spiel because we got a double dynamics, and we're going to talk about Lex Luga. You know, I described him in many ways on Facebook and Twitter and all of them, saying how he was a mega boss. And I mean that, a mega boss in all the ways. How could he not be a mega boss? He's a CEO, a founder, and connecting people all through the South, the founder of Hood Idol Tour, and he has many, many industry MVP awards. So I wanted to make sure that we have the CEO, South State Connected, Hood Idol Tour. Lex Luga. I called him the mega boss and the global entertainment personality. Today he had the Sunday evening weigh-in. So I looked at everything and I listened to every opportunity I had for him to do his trafficking tour on the radio and all the things. And I realized that he was widening the lanes in the entertainment industry, one lane at a time, putting them all together but making them all work. And he is the backwoods ambassador. Good evening, Lex.
Hi, good evening. Thanks. That's a wonderful introduction.
Well, that's all about you. That's what I found. I did my homework, and I've been listening to you about 2 years or so or more, So I kind of think I'm being honest with the things that I said. But don't let me just be the one. Introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I go by the name Lex Luga, the Backwood Ambassador, from Jackson, Mississippi. And I'm CEO of South State Connected Records, CEO of SSC Marketing Group. I'm the founder of the Hood Idol Tour. Also, I have a mixtape series called Trafficking Mixtape Series, which actually got its name because we trafficking dope music and not actual drugs. We call the music the drugs, just for those who maybe not understand the terminology. And also, I have a new TV show that just debuted in Jackson, Mississippi on Channel 18 called It's Lit TV. And along with being on several different radio stations with my actually show called The Trafficking Hour, where we play new music and give up-and-coming artists a chance to get heard, which all the formats is for basically mostly up-and-coming artists. And, we do have established artists that, draw in people to help get the up-and-coming artists a listening ear that they maybe wouldn't have had before. That's some of the hats that I wear.
That's so important, because they need to comfortably be able to start somewhere. And I think you have that knack or, you have that marketing skill to promote them, to get them to a comfortable place where they can really show off and do their work, But now, you were on my show, TGIF 5, when I first started, maybe a year or so ago, and we talked about entertainment and all your ambitions and things that you were going to do that have all come to be. But then you said you also had a criminal justice story. So let's get into that.
Yes. Well, I was actually incarcerated when I was around 19, 20, really, I just turned 20, with a cell charge. I actually sold drugs to undercover cop, but I actually so I wasn't even selling drugs at the time. I had a so-called friend talk me into something, which, it was a money-making opportunity. I didn't know that he was setting me up with an undercover cop because he had a case, and from that point, me getting in the case, that's actually what I became. Once I went to jail because they didn't actually arrest me the first time. They gave me a start, and from that point I actually started selling drugs. And after a while they did arrest me. And then I had a criminal record. I was actually in college at Jackson State because that's actually, once I did get out of jail, I went back to college and got my degree from Jackson State University. I have a business degree. I have a bachelor's in business administration and a minor in marketing. And, after that, life kind of changed for me kind of drastically. I ended up really going to the streets. And in 2012, I was actually arrested by the federal authorities, but that's something that I didn't do. And it took me 2 years to fight the system, and I wrote everyone and did everything I could, reached out to everybody. But with me having a criminal record that was 15 years ago, it was like my story was unbelievable. And I ended up going to trial, to just make this long story short. I ended up going to trial, and I actually even won my cases because it was 5 different officers involved, and neither one of their story was the same. Because they actually shot at me, and it was by the grace of God that he missed. And he said that an angel must have hit his hand because he was a trained marksman, and he missed me from about 10 feet away. He missed me about 6 inches above my head. And, so, that his thing was he thought I had a weapon and was going to shoot him, but none of the other officers would testify to that. It's kind of like the cases that you see where people are actually getting killed. I was one of the ones who, for whatever reason, God didn't make it, that I didn't get hit over a situation of really, I don't even know to this day, like, the whole situation or even how they even come to my house and stuff like that. But, it wasn't, the ideal of what I was actually charged with wasn't even nowhere near true, even though at the time that I was doing things illegal, that they wasn't there for nothing that I was actually doing. So, I take that in stride and actually use that to fuel everything I do now for the community. And with my motivational speaking and everything, I assume that God let me live to be someone who could actually tell the story and maybe draw others in that some would normally listen to.
Right. But talking about those cases like that, what's so crazy is that nobody would corroborate or nobody would go together with their testimony. So if you got that many people sitting there and they can't all go together, then how did he get that far?
Yeah, well, because of, like I say, it's because of a record, and it's happened in the state of Mississippi, and I won't say that everything that you see about Mississippi is true, but I did learn that the justice system is set up a certain way. Even in going to trial, I learned that it's almost impossible to win a trial because the prosecutor gets to go and say whatever about you, and then during closing, your closing arguments before a jury even leaves, and then, the defense gets to say something, and then the prosecutor gets to come back and say something else. So that's the first thing that the jury hears, and the last thing the jury hears is whatever the prosecutor has to say, and they say what they want to say without even foundation. It doesn't have to have documentation, and I didn't even think that was real. I didn't think that you could actually do that. So
right.
For the officers, if the officers actually had got together and if they actually had agreed, I wouldn't be here because I was facing life. I was facing life in the federal penitentiary. But, I mean, I have written documentation. I have the transcripts on the trial. Even the actual transcriber wrote certain things in the transcripts describing their answers and their motions. Like if you actually read it, it says the officer said yes and shaking his head no, to a certain answer, and like I say, it's just amazing, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you are to be as positive as you are. So now, getting to when you came out, how did you actually get started? Because a lot of times people get so turned around, and they come home from prison and they got to hurry up and catch up or do things that you have to do. How do you actually get started? Give me some of those steps.
Well, for one, I'm not gonna say I'm religious, but I'm spiritual. I mean, I had a God-based foundation being raised by my grandmother. So, I mean, I had faith the whole time. I mean,
Recording has started.
You know, I didn't believe that I was going to prison. So, I had a positive mindset, and I learned certain things in life and was taught certain things in life that helped me through the situation. And one was the power of the mind. And when I came home, I had a solid support system. I had my daughter's mother support me. I had my uncle's support. He actually owned a shop, and he owned a shop fixing computers and cell phones, and he had taught me how to do that. I had a base on that. So he was actually leaving the shop, and so he kind of turned it over to me. So that helped me generate an income, fixing and selling computers and cell phones. And, you know, I had went into a family environment. You know, I was no longer, like, hung around the friends that I was with before I went in. So I changed, you know, of course I lived in a different place, I moved. So I changed people, places, and things and what I actually did. So that kind of helped, and I was surrounded by positive people. And like I said, a basic support system. Like I said, with my daughter's mother, moving in with her and being with my daughter as well. You know, that having that family support right there, being with my uncle, kind of like being the father figure, and guiding me and talking to me and, you know, pointing me in the right direction. So I had people, you know, in place, amongst a few other people who just automatically, you know, supported me. And I actually started back. I had been doing the Hood Idol tour since 2009. So I started back up. The first one I threw, once I got home, I had been home a couple months. The first one I threw ended up being successful. So that kind of, I guess you say, helped develop the tour back up, and it helped me have a, you know, financial base to keep doing everything that I already did. Like, I actually picked up where I left off when I came home. So.
Right. Well, that was a good thing. That was great. I mean, the support system is always important, especially when you got that, when you've been through the criminal justice system, even if you didn't do a sentence, but you went through all the motions except that, and going through the court and coming home. You know, they mark you anyway. But I'm glad to see that you progressed. And since you mentioned the Hood Idol tour, let's talk a little bit about that Hood Idol tour.
Yeah, well, in 2009, I started, and, you know, I kind of got the name. Most people think got it from the American Idol thing, but I was actually thinking of, at the time, it was like me coming out the streets. And so, you know, in the hood, you kind of have something to idolize. And so I wanted to start something where people could actually idolize someone who actually made it out the hood, and give them an outlet of a chance to be able to express themselves and perform, because people love performing in front of crowds. And I come from a background of playing sports. I played sports since 4th grade. In high school, I would be what you consider a basketball star. I had scholarships to all different type of places. And I remember enjoying performing in front of a crowd. And when I got into the music, that's what I liked about the music most, is performing. So I started the tours to actually look for talent, to actually get a talent a chance to perform, and that's what they could do it. And that's how I discovered our flagship artist on our label, Juju Swag Shawty. He won 3 in a row. And I mean, so what I actually established it for, you know, had come to fruition. And we travel place to place, state to state. We just was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, this past yesterday. And, man, I mean, the guy that won yesterday, he has all the potential to be a major superstar with the right backing. We're in Atlanta, January the 13th, and we moved around to a lot of different places. Like I said, they're giving the artists a chance to express themselves, giving them the chance to perform in places that they would normally be able to perform in front of crowds that they wouldn't normally perform in front of. And we have people come out from all over. We have Louisiana, Mississippi, Memphis, and Alabama in the building just last night.
Wow. That's something. I mean, that's really an accomplishment. Because I see you had on one of the, I don't know if it was Instagram or not, but you had the award winner of the HAVOC awards or something. And you always, you always glamorize the winners. And I see the pictures that are, that are rewarding. So how would a person get to do that tour with you? What criteria and where would they have to be in the industry?
Well, it doesn't matter where you're in the industry because it's basically set up for up-and-coming artists. Because I'm basically doing what you could call artist development and building their following. It's just a matter of, taking someone from the organization, from SSC Marketing, get the information about joining, about registering. There's no certain criteria other than want to participate, and if it's in your area or if it's not, wherever it is, being able to make it. And we do encourage having good quality mixed music. The sound of the music. Because I can't judge anybody's actual liking of the song, but the quality of the recording, we do encourage it to be up to par.
Right. So tell us how you started with Juju Swag Shorty, because he's quite an accomplishment, the first Philippine rapper.
Yes. Well, I would say Juju, let's see, I think it was, the first one he did was 2011, and the first Hood Idol. And he had, he was one of our winners. And the next one, he came with something different, and all the judges, because the first one he won, the crowd picked. The second one he won, the judges picked, and the third one was the judges. So the second one he won a video and a trip to Atlanta to be in a big showcase, and that was his first time ever going to perform out of state before. And once he did, and the people loved him, he was telling them, like, they was, because we in Atlanta, there was a lot of industry people there. They was coming trying to talk to him. At the time, he was maybe 20, and he was saying, talk to LEX. And it was like, they'll come talk to me, and it was like, I don't know why he told you to come talk to me. And so afterwards, that's when I learned that, he was really just doing the music for fun, and he needed guidance, and he had just asked me about linking up, and so we did the paperwork, and I've been developing him, and he's been a good student, and he started to excel, and eventually, because he really was from the street at the time, and we had to groom him, and kind of like I kind of like been a big brother to help him evolve into even a better man, in a sense, and he listened with the music. So, he makes a lot of good music, and so that's what we're pushing. I do believe that eventually he's going to make a big breakthrough in the industry, and because he's been on every radio station in the state of Mississippi. He's had radio play across the nation. He didn't performed across the nation. And it all started, from participating in the Hood Idol tour.
Mm-hmm. And the main thing is having fun. When you get into it and you're doing your work, you should enjoy any job. You should try to get something that you enjoyed. And he was just having fun and being a natural at it.
Yeah.
What other artists you might want to share with us that's up and coming or really that's doing well with you?
Well, I'm working with this other artist. His name is Nico. And he's actually out of Jackson, Mississippi. He has a song with a lot of different people, but his main song is with Rocco. Rocco out of Atlanta. Rocco had a few hit songs. He just settled the $8 million dispute with Future, because he was the one who first put Future on or signed a contract with Future. The rapper Future is. Also working with another guy named Rico the Sippy Plug, but one of the guys that I just actually started working with too, his name, which I'll probably end up changing, his real name is Dia. But we hadn't came up with an actual name for him, but he's actually a Southern soul singer. And when I say that he has a couple of hits that eventually the world needs to hear, he's going to be something that's going to be unique that I get a chance to grow. But he's an actual Southern soul artist, and he has a song similar to the Cupid Shuffle, which I think is going to be really huge. You know, it's a line dance song, and you know, those are the other common artists that I mainly work with. Some of the mainstream artists that I work with, you know, I hadn't worked with them directly. It's mostly working with their team or you know, I put out a lot of music in the state of Mississippi first from a lot of artists who are established, such as, I'm not sure if you guys even know some, but YFN Lucci, before he ever became as huge as he has. Day Day, he's out of Atlanta too. Those are the first two that come to mind because I have to go back in time because I've been doing this for a long time. I have to really think about some of the other guys that I actually put their music out first here. But those two I know for sure because those are the two most recent that it would have became very, very big in the music industry.
Right. And so with those superstars you're making, and I'm sure that they're going to be superstars, you know, where's your next tour going to be?
The next tour date is January the 13th in Atlanta. I got a tentative date for February the 2nd in Columbus, Mississippi, and somebody asked me also, I got another tentative date January the 5th that's going to be in Vicksburg, Mississippi. I do got a Houston showcase I'm setting up, Jacksonville, Florida. But I done had people reach out from a lot of different places. I hadn't had a chance to go there, but I know Vegas. I got to go get the spot in Vegas as well. So 2018, we're going to be moving around and really going from coast to coast because I have so many people reaching out that's actually inviting me to come and you know, and to actually bring the Hood Idol tour. So hopefully we can make it to DC too.
I'm gonna try to work on that. I want to try to make that my baby. Y'all got to show me how though. But you know, when I first ever heard you were on ECMD Business Call, you know, and I heard you talking about your tour, and you were doing tours then. That's the first time I ever heard of it. And so I looked it up, and I saw how it was blooming then, and that's been a couple of years ago. But you've been on the radio a lot. Tell us about some of those radio stations. I know you got Trafficking Hour, but you had you list yourself as a radio personality. So tell us about some of those radio entities.
Yes. Well, my first radio gig, I was on 94.3 FM. That's an FM station in Jackson. I build up a listening audience at night, playing mostly hip-hop music and R&B. Now I'm on K100 out of Atlanta, Pure Truth Talk Radio out of Dallas, Power 904 out of Jacksonville, Florida, ECMD Radio out of Cleveland, Mississippi, and a couple of others that are brand new that I hadn't actually started on. That we didn't come to agreement, but I haven't actually started on those yet. Though Gassed Up Radio out of Texas, out of California, and it's a couple of others as well. Yes, and I'm more of I'm the host type. Cause I was already hosting mixtapes and doing that, so I'm not like an actual DJ that does what DJs do. I just feel like I have the ear for music and a unique voice, you know, when it comes to me actually doing my actual, radio shows and TV as well.
It's important to define yourself because you're not a DJ. You know, as you say, radio personality, you host the shows on the radio station. And these are, I call them hard copy radio stations. These are not the online ones, but these are the ones that are mainstream. These radio stations aren't the ones that are online that have less restrictions. You're mainstream radio personality, and that says a lot because you'll have restrictions, but you also have leeway, and it has more air possibilities. It gets everywhere. and things like that, where some things with the online radio, we have to keep pushing it out where they're already doing everything for you. You just have to be yourself because you're helping their station grow. And it's important to know when you talk about that. But I know I heard you on Kermit Henderson ECMD radio show when you were doing stuff, and Kermit always had such faith in you. He told me one time, this guy's going to be big. So I knew that I would follow you, and that's what I did. But being a radio show personality is like the, I want to say, the undercurrent to all your business, because you're able to be there to have your finger on the pulse of a lot of things, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but I really would, my actual fan base are actually built in the streets because I can't get away from being a product of the streets. I'm not with the radio, so I'm not the normal radio personality like I can actually have. I actually go to the hood. I still get respected. Even with not being, a drug dealer anymore or not even being in that environment, those people still look up to me, for the majority of them, and know that, hey, well, they could come from this and live a better life and still be successful in other ways. And I got to give a shout out, too, to Kermit Henderson, the Superstar Maker, because he is one of my mentors, and he taught me a lot, and he gave me a lot of guidance, and even just him, even though he's a hard mentor, he does cuss me out, he trying to set me on the right path. But when I first met him, and, we began to talk, he said something that stuck out to me and that I'll never forget. He said that, I like to reach out to guys like you who done been through the system, because I want to play a part until you're never going back into the system. And one thing about people like me, or I say similar to me, most of us don't grow up with what most would consider you to understand how somebody could love you in a different type of love way. And that's how I see how those words to me made me feel that way, like, okay, well, this is maybe somebody who at least cares to see, another, not only a human being, but another, black male somehow can beat the odds. Because, one thing that I had was told, even when you leave in prison, they give you the statistics of, it's a very high percentage of people that go back to jail. It's a very low percentage of people that actually live productive lives. And it's even a lower percentage of people that's able to influence others after being incarcerated, or even that make it after going to a trial. And you're also talking to someone who, I was built for certain things. I witnessed my mother commit suicide. I lost my younger brother to murder. My first cousin, which was raised as my sister, I lost her to murder. I witnessed my grandmother die of cancer at the age of 62. My grandfather, who was the guy who I molded myself after, because my grandfather came from nothing and became a millionaire in California and owned restaurants. And I was his oldest grandson, because my mother had me when she was 16. So I was the oldest, and I was kind of groomed as maybe the youngest son, and I was groomed under him, and he was very successful, and he ended up losing everything through getting his money scammed out of him by a preacher, out of all things. And so I was around all of this. I was around the drug, because he started from being a pimp to being a big-time drug dealer to starting his own business. So I was raised around it. My uncle was the same thing. My uncle did a prison time. Both of my uncles did. One did 20 years for, he had sale of cocaine. My other uncle, the same thing. One of my other uncles got caught with 500 pounds of marijuana. So I was raised around that. This is what I seen coming up. And so to be able to come from that, I felt though I was chosen. I was also valedictorian all through school without ever studying, along with being an athlete. I was the only black male to graduate from my high school with honors. I graduated from college even after going back to college. After getting out of jail, I graduated cum laude. I graduated with honors from college. So I know it's something that I had that I didn't understand, and to get mentors who see something in you and to bring the best out of you, is what I learned, that everyone who is successful had someone to mold their talent. And so I got to thank Kermit. And I had a lot of other mentors. I even did Nino. Nino was there for me a hard time in my life. Also, Charlie Braxton is my first mentor in the music. That's the guy who groomed David Banner, who is still our most successful our most successful rap artist out of Jackson, Mississippi. So I value mentors, and I value being a mentor, and I try to get Juju to understand that that's part of me mentoring him, is that I learned that somebody has to mold the talent. And that goes with Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, anybody that's successful period was molded by someone.
You're exactly right. And the thing about it is to acknowledge it. A lot of people, they get going and they forget whoever helped them or things like that, or I want to say sometimes they get to a point where they're so big and they're so strong that they don't need those people any longer, and the mentoring stops. But mentoring never stops. You learn and you go and you grow. And sometimes you have to go back. But at a young age, you've been through so much already, and you've come, I want to say, almost full circle. You've come to pass a lot of things that people in your profession have been able to even get to. But the thing about you continue to try to grow others in that profession, because this is a mean, cruel profession. And people don't realize how you can get snapped up, chewed out, spit out, and go back into it 1,000 times and never come on top. But with you setting such an example for the people that you do something for, or when you walking through the hood, because I tell anybody, neighborhoods are neighborhoods. Hood is just something they shortcut and called it. But it's still the same. People still show love and respect to those that they love and respect. And it's very important to be able to give back, because walking through that hood is a big deal, especially after you kind of made it, and coming back. You always got to go back to your foundation, because as I tell people, foundations don't crack, you crack on them. So when you're going back, it's like strengthening you as well. It's making you a better promoter, in collecting things, and being also a good example for your daughter. To show her, because somebody had to show you, and now you're able to show her how life should be and how it should go on. But also, you're a smart guy. Now, your accolades as far as your education is phenomenal. And how through school, when grades made the difference, you kept those grades up. You didn't do it once, you continued to do it. So when we talk about that, we talk about going into your marketing, your South State Connected marketing group. Let's talk about that so people can know all about it.
Okay. Well, I formed a marketing group, my marketing company in 2005, actually, because I was doing the music. I originally started my record label in 2002 while I was still at Jackson State, and through a group of guys who was, known rappers on campus and stuff, and I kind of teamed up with them because at that time I was in the streets, and I had money and I wanted to invest it in something, and so I formed that. And, I eventually learned that if I bought all the equipment, it would be a whole lot cheaper and I could just learn how to use it. So that's how I actually started my marketing company. And, I know a lot of people will see like my South State Connected logo and SSC thing, but my actual logo and the actual theme of the South State Connected, it actually comes, like everything I do has a terminology behind it or something behind it. And
right.
behind the South State Connected is that originally most of our ancestors, but not all our ancestors, came here on boats or were slaves. I know that, but a majority did come here on boats, and they was brought to the South and they were sold. So when you see the background of my logo, you see all those states that most of the slaves were sold to. And that's why if you look closely, you'll see Mississippi highlighted, because Mississippi had a different breed of the slaves that they brought to Mississippi, because you had to survive the heat to pick the cotton. So when I said South State Connected, South, I spelled it SOUF instead of South because we pronounce it as South. It's like
right.
and I actually did that though. Just to be honest, is that when I went to get the name copyrighted, SOUF, because I actually had it Southside Connection. Southside Connection was a railroad company, so I changed the SOUF, and I changed it to the South State. The South State Connected. And that's how I was able to get, my copyrights and trademarks and everything. And so the connection came from wanting to connect all the South states together to form a movement into which we could change the mindset and the different environments of a majority of our people that I could eventually get together to get behind one thing, in which I figured that the music is the quickest way to get people together if I got the right group of people together and they actually made money and we invested it the right way, because I wasn't taught how to invest money, how to, do things of that nature by my grandfather. So that's where I eventually came with the marketing company from. I wanted to have less costs and put my artists out, and I already had a marketing degree. I was already marketing the music, and so I developed a company, bought all the equipment. We do T-shirts, flyers, graphics. I took graphics courses and, launched a marketing company and, still thriving to this day.
Right. And so, doing marketing and things like that, I would say you have to kind of keep your ear to the ground and see what's new and see what's cooking to keep yourself above or ahead of the rest. So how do you do that?
Well, by traveling, because actually how I came with the Hood Idol tour, you see, it wasn't in the state of Mississippi yet. I have the longest running tour in the state, longest running showcase in the state of Mississippi. Let me put it that way for the correct terminology. Like I said, since 2009 is where you can see the documentation of where I actually called it the Hood Idol. And even with that, I got it from Atlanta because I was an artist and I was paying to go to showcases and stuff. And so I decided that I'd create my own and I could actually market the artists and find the artists and, and put them out. And, because at the time, like I said, I had a label. I was looking for new artists. So I stay ahead of the curve by traveling and seeing. I seen that's just coming to the state of Mississippi now. We're just not getting the rap karaoke. That's been in existence now for about a year or two to people was marketing as did in other places though. But now they do the rap karaoke. It's other things, it's other things that I've seen. But I've seen by traveling and, somebody's idea, somebody, you can always take somebody's idea and add your own pieces to it. Even with my television show, I have something that's similar to more of like a 106 in Park, except now you really don't have access to seeing videos on regular TV. So it's a void there, at least here in my area. And I took it upon myself to fulfill that void because I could. Doing certain things come easy to me. It's just a matter of me finding the time and being able to do it. So to answer your question, I stay ahead of the curve by traveling, keep my eyes open for something new, something that I might have seen or heard, and then maybe taking that and add my own twist to it and coming up with my own ideas on something that I feel would be beneficial to different parties and not just myself.
Right. Wow, that's so great. Tell us about, you got the TV show that's just jumping off. Tell us about the making of that when you started with that idea.
Well, I started with that idea because of somebody had heard me on the radio, and I was going live on Facebook. And somebody made a comment of, man, you need to be on TV. Okay, and then other people started commenting on it, right? And so I used to be on TV. I used to have a segment. It used to be a show on TV here back in 2007 called Southside Videos. And I sold cars. And so I had a segment on the show where I would do like I show like different cars. I talk about the different cars or whatever, trying to sell cars and whatnot. Except, we showing, nice, cars, that's fixed up and stuff. And so my partner had seen the live feed, and he was like, well, dude, you know, I still got the hookup at the TV station. And he's like, man, you probably get a show for a little nothing because they probably don't want you on the show right now because you got a decent following. And so I was like, I don't know. So the very next day, like this is how God works. The very next day, the guy who actually was a producer of that show, I ran into at a restaurant, and he noticed my shirt because I had on a South State Connected shirt, and he said, South State Connected. He's like, you Lex? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man, long time no see. You know, woo, woo, woo. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, we were just talking about you yesterday, dude. Like that's how I run your day. And I was like, oh, you still got access to the radio, to the TV station? And he said, man, everybody left with just one guy there. And I was like, yeah, man. He said, man, I might want to try to get on the show. He's like, yeah, I had seen you. I heard you on the radio, this, that, and the third. He said, yeah, I'll take you to meet the guy. I go to meet the guy like the next day or whatever, a couple of days later. That's the producer that runs the TV station. He knew who I was and had been listening to my radio show. And he said, you want a TV show? What kind of TV show you want? And I told him about my idea of like, well, you know, just McKinney said, I'm just seeing what it takes. He was like, oh, yeah. He was like, dude, I'd love to have you on here, man. He's like, I already know about you, who I've been following you, this, that, and the third. And it was like, what? Like, for real? And, you know, that was like, it still took a minute for it actually happened, but that was the beginning stages. And that was like in March or April, you know. So, you know, things transpired to where the guy who was going to get to record and this, that, and the third. And so I ended up, like, was being beneficial. I went back and talked to him, and he put me in classes to learn how to do the TV editing and the recording and the filming. And it just so happens that it's almost the same as the music. So he was like, I was like his fastest learner ever. So I, like, passed the class in, like, a record time to get my certificate.
Right. So, I'm not surprised at that.
Yeah, so and so my TV show debuted this past Friday, and it wasn't scheduled to next year because I had to get a certain number of episodes. So when I took him the first episode, he was so blown away, which was just Thursday. Get this, it was just Thursday. I was supposed to, because it was supposed to launch 2018. I took him the first episode, and he said, man, I'm putting this on tomorrow. I need to get this on TV. Just please give me another episode by next week. If not, I'm running this episode every week until you bring me another episode. I need this on TV. We need this footage. And it was like, yes. He's like, this is great. This is great. You know, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And so he was so excited. It was like, it was kind of mind-blowing to me. Like, is he just saying this? Or is this real? Like, and so, hence the TV show getting launched. You know, Channel 18 in Jackson, Mississippi.
And you can't beat that. I mean, that's crazy how things kind of meet each other. Like just by chance, he sees your T-shirt, and he knows that's it, and you go from there. And being as bright as you are, you just took on everything and you got it going, and that's good. So on the show, will you collect some more guests, or how would it? Can you give us like a preview of some of the up and coming shows?
Yes, because I do have most of the footage shot. You know, like I said, it's basically I interview, you know, artists, athletes, comedians. I'm so in tune into a lot of people who are successful from here to where, you know, I got access to, if you like it's people that I be forgetting that would be considered to be famous who I just know to where I just know them, you know. So it's like until I see the effect they have on other people. So I started with them people, just a phone call, like, hey, man, I got a TV show. I want to interview you. Oh, come on, let you know it's all good. And then I did the same thing with the radio. Like, you know, I had people there who, you know, there's people I know, but they're successful, you know, known artists. And so I did the same basis with the TV show. So I do interviews, and in between I show videos, all kinds of videos we have, you know, of course, it's hip-hop heavy. I play the main videos that people would want to see to draw my crowd. Then I mix in up-and-coming artists, gospel rap, and R&B. So, you know, eventually I'm going to have blues too. But I'm in tune to the successful people here, so I just have them on interviews. I got different video drops, and then I show like different fancy cars. That's with the big rims and the sound systems and all that. Stuff that that would excite the younger people. Right. Would say, kind of like get a motivation to want to, I want a car like that, or I want to, be that. That's why I call it It's Lit. I call it It's Lit because I'm playing the hottest of the hot. Looking to set the world on fire. That's why I get the name.
You're doing it. You're doing it, Lex. You're doing it. I always put getting it in and putting in work. You're doing both of them, And I do call you the mega boss, and I mean it. But now I know we're talking, and things seem like, it's all good and it's easy because you have your agenda and your planning going and you're consecutive in your work. But tell us about some of those knocks and bangs and, things you had to kind of put a little stumbling block into things. You've had some experiences, I'm sure.
Man, plenty. Well, first of all, the federal trial. I was in federal holding for 2 years without a bond. I've been home since the end of July of 2014. My best year, though, ironically enough, I financially, legally, was 2015, but in 2016. I had a peculiar illness which nobody could explain that just hit me out of nowhere the summer of 2016. And, I went through several tests. It actually, at one point, I couldn't walk for a couple of weeks. I wasn't able to eat for over 3 months. I had lost like 60 pounds. And, one doctor gave me 3 months to live, and this was just 2016. And I took 1 million tests, and it was on the last test that they decided to take, which should have been the first, is where they found out that I had two bones on 2 different nerves. One nerve was connected to my leg, and one was connected to my stomach. That's why I wasn't able to eat. And once they found the problem, though, but it had been 6 months to find the problem, or about 5 months to find the problem, and because I had to do different procedures and everything else. And, one of the doctors said it's a phenomenon that most people would have died from this because I didn't have a bowel movement for over a month, and I had a lot of toxins in my body. And the doctors we can't even explain or understand, even, how you're able to even still even sit around. I was in the most severe pain of my life. I had to crawl to the bathroom. I was bedridden for a couple of months. I wasn't able to really travel or do anything for almost 9 months. And once they found that I got the right medication, and I had to go through physical therapy because even a spoon had become heavy to me. For losing all the weight, and I had to get my strength back and everything else, and it was a revelation in my life which makes me do everything that I do now. It's like not thinking about it or talking about it. I'm just going to do it. Because it became a point to where, I'll be honest, to where that's the first time where I've really, really had contemplating suicide. And so when I did that and when I really know that I was serious, I said to myself, I made a conscious decision, and I said, well, I got to have something great coming because the devil, God is not allowing the devil to kill me because I survived death 3 times of even assassinations where I should have died. And so I said, well, the only way that he can stop whatever God has for me is that he must want me to kill myself. I said, and so that means that I got the power to overcome this. And that particular day, because I was, I don't mind even being honest with sharing this story on a phone call. I was right there on the floor and I was crying because I was in so much pain. And it was hurting. I had to go to the bathroom and I was trying to crawl to the bathroom. And I laid there and I was like, man, no way God is going to let me die like this in this amount of pain. And when I said that, and I said that, and the devil was like, man, just get it over with. And I said, no. And I said, I got the power to fight this. And so I started to meditate. And once I meditated and I sit there and I concentrated, and the pain went away. And I was able to go to the bathroom every single time. Now, of course, it came back. But I found, I realized that the mind was that powerful that I could control this to a certain extent. And it changed my whole life, because that made me realize I can control anything in life. And that meant that I can control my success as well. So once I overcame my physical pain, I started working on the mental, and anything that I thought in my mind started to come true. And so that brings me to where even this phone call and here today, everything I thought of, once I healed, I started thinking of it. Even the radio, I said that I was going to go to internet radio, and all of a sudden the FM radio popped up out the blue. The TV. I said I wanted to do a TV show and thought about it. It popped up out the blue. So that's what I went through and overcame just recently. There's a lot of other things, but that's a defining moment in my life.
That's really something, because, you have to understand, when you say you were talking to yourself, and when you realized the demons and things that were within you, but you were talking to God, and you overcame the demons that had you. And I'm not going to go all into that, because everybody will think I'm crazy, but I understand that in your life. I understand that. And I understand how you were able to not have pain and go to the bathroom. It's your faith and trust in that foundation that's always in you, that you have, spiritualism, or be a spiritual person. And those things, you knew that God had other plans for you. And so when you gave in and said, I know you got other plans for me, it watered off everything else. And that's why you're here today. And I'm so, I always say that every show I have is the best show, because I put the people on that are the best. And I would say you are the best in what you're doing and what you're giving and what you've been through and what you share. People always want to, I guess it's the stigma of someone that's been to prison, even if it's for 2 days or 2 years or 25 or had life sentences, and they came out of it. They always look at them a different way. But I think that sometimes when you're going through that, you begin or are able to look at yourself outside yourself, and then you're able to plan for yourself. And I feel that that's exactly what you did, and I've asked you everything I could possibly think of. You've given me all and over what I imagined this interview would be. Is there anything that you'd like to discuss that we didn't touch on?
No. Well, besides that, one thing, I got to give a shout out to Kermit one more time. Kermit is responsible for not only us meeting, but for me getting my first gold record back in August. And that just feels like a tremendous accomplishment. And I want to give a shout out, to him and the ECMD family. It's a lot of us that work together for the common goal, and still, able to maintain our own businesses. And, of course, I got to thank God. And, one thing I want to make sure I tell everybody that I learned the hard way is to put God first and family second, and money going to come as long as you stay on the grind. And when I say put God first, I'm not talking about church or anything of that nature. I'm talking about just acknowledging the fact of his presence and him being in your life, and that's what I acknowledge. I acknowledge the fact that he's responsible for me being here, and I thank him constantly for everything he's done for me. I'm not a churchgoer, and I'm not going to claim to be that or a saint, but I do know I have a good heart, and I do know that whatever you put into the universe, you're going to get back. So I stay trying to put positivity in the universe, even in a moment of negativity, and I encourage others to do the same.
And you're right. You're right about that. Nobody can dispute that. And when you thank Kermit, I see all the time on the ECMD biweekly entertainment conference call, there's your picture right there next to Kermit,
Yeah.
And he always knew. He always knew what you were capable of. And he would tell me, he said, this guy's going to do big things. And I said, oh, boy, I better watch him, because Kermit said. And, when you're on the calls and you talk about even the call we had last time, giving the history, talking about Tupac, and, it's amazing to me how much young folks know about things, and being able to, you can know a lot of things, but you may not be able to articulate it. And you're able to articulate it where everyone can understand it and everyone's interested in what you say. Because the same person could have said some of the things you said, and they say, okay, go to the next person. But they waited because that's a part of respect as well. So we all give a big shout-out to Kermit Henderson because he is the what they say, the big OG, quadruple OG.
Yeah, that's quadruple OG. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
he's every other Tuesday, and people get on the line, and he's working the board, and he does give you tough love, but he does not give you love. And if you look at it at the end, you all come on top because of it. That's something you'll come up on top. So, talk about some of those awards you got. You got that one. Talk about some of those other awards you got. I almost forgot about that.
Okay. Well, I won Mississippi Industry MVP for 2017. I also won Entrepreneur of the Year. I won I'm trying to think. I can't because I'm not at the house. I can't. I'm trying to picture out my award wise. Those are the ones that stick out. I know that those are the ones besides the gold record that stick out to me. Now I do have a whole bunch of trophies from all out from basketball MVP. I won MVP back to back in high school. I got Salesman of the Year awards where I sold cars for a short amount of time to which helped me, get money up. Like I said, once my mom died, I went through a thing, and so I called myself trying to do something positive and get out the streets. I tried the job thing, and I sold cars, and I got like tons of awards for selling cars. I set the record my first month ever selling cars. Ever selling cars. I sold the most cars in 1 month at that car lot that anybody had ever sold. So I and my name is on their wall. There's a big car lot that's been there like 40 years now. It's going to be complexed 79. And they put their Salesman of the Year name on the wall. And my very first month selling cars. So I can go there and my name's put on the wall no matter what. So that's one award that has nothing to do with the music that I do appreciate. And I have several awards like that, though. I have a whole bunch of awards and statistics, though. But those couple of ones that I got a Promoter of the Year. I got a Promoter of the Year award from ECMD. And those are the ones I can just picture off my head. I can't think of all the different things on the awards, but the industry MVP meant a lot to me. I actually won that award, and it wasn't even for our district, so they let me know how hard I was working. Because it was another part of Mississippi that was 3 hours from me that gave me that award, which I wouldn't really, nobody else from Jackson was even nominated for any award in that area. So, I do think that award to really mean something. And it was part of, a blessing to, like I said, that was the time. I got that award right when the first time I was cleared to travel. So that really means something to me. Just like the gold record means something to me.
I mean, all of them are such an accomplishment, but getting that award, like you say, it wasn't even in your area. So you see how I want to say how long your reach is or how broad your reach is, And that's very important. And, Kermit Henderson is the foundation and what do you say, a superstar maker.
Superstar maker. So, I got to give credit. Once I reach that plateau, then I can say by verification that, I can give him credit for helping me become a superstar.
Well, you're on the way, and, I'll be right there. I'll be right there with y'all because, I push out everything I can and retweet everything I see, especially yours and the other guys in the ECMD family, which is, is phenomenal, the way we do things at ECMD Radio. And he said to start putting out ECMD Radio Team and ECMD Radio Family or ECMD Family, that's exactly what it is, because it's hard to let go once you get in there. If you're taking care of your business and you getting it in and putting in work, you're going to stay on top because, you put in, you put in what you get what you get out. You know,
and
so
you are such a part of that too as well. I want to acknowledge that as well. You are such a part of the team.
Thank you so much. You know, as I round it up, you know, I don't know anything but to ask you to give an in closing to people, you know, because you inspire naturally, you know, and you tell them how things are done. A lot of people don't want to share that, you know, and it's important that you can't get nothing if you don't share it. And I always tell people in my shows, what you hear here, don't let it stay here. Share it with somebody because it's good for everyone. The common good is sharing, you know. Yeah. So in closing, is there something you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yes, to anyone listening, in closing, I'd like to say that if you have a lot of talent, please be humble enough to listen to someone who can mold that talent. And if you are a person who can mold talent and who can actually help someone reach another goal, choose someone that is humble and is willing to listen and invest that knowledge and time into them because you can't take it with you. And, you know, as I always say, put God first, family second, and money going to come.
That's for sure. And tell people how they can get in touch with you or reach your businesses.
You can reach me, actually, social media, you can reach me at SSCLEXLUGA. My marketing company is online at sscmarketinggroup.com. That's sscmarketinggroup.com. Or you can actually email at sscmarketinggroup@yahoo.com. And the business line, anyone listening that, you know, I do motivational speaking or, you know, would like to have a further conversation or any other platforms that's available, you can actually text or call, which prefer text first, 601-669-6152. Once again, that's 601-669-6152. And or you can just contact Mommy Activist. She has my information. And, you know, I'm looking forward to being on all different platforms, talking to all ages, and looking to inspire others to, you know, dream big and set forth goals to accomplish those dreams.
Thank you so much. That was Lex Luga, CEO, South State Connected Hood Idol Tour, 25 days till Christmas, Wishes of Justice. I call him the mega boss and the global international personality. And anyone that listened to this show, they know why. So thank you so much. This has been Double Dynamic. Sunday evening weigh-in. That's 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday to make a difference in a responsible way. And as I said, what you hear here, don't let it stay here. Share it with someone because it's good for you and good for us to have something to share. See you tomorrow. Number 18 coming up. And he was number 17. Lex Luga was 17 of 25 days till Christmas. Wishes of Justice. Thank you very much, and thank you so much, Mega Ball, global internet entertainment personality, Lex Luga. Have a good evening. Love y'all. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.